Okay, so theory of structuration, all right. What essentially it's saying is that the ants carry on with their daily lives in a social structure, okay, that's created by the ant hill. So you've got the micro level activity, your day to day stuff that you carry on doing in the social structure that's been created for you. And that continuously feeds into each other. So essentially, when you are born into a society that already has a social structure to it, so your life in Lytham will obviously be different to mine growing up in London. However, my social structure, just as an example, my macro level forces that were influencing me on my micro level day to day basis, for example, the structure of London, it's perfectly common to go on public transport, buses, tubes, trains. It's not unusual at 10 years old to be going to school on your own, using public transport. Depending on the kind of school that you went to, there'd be a structure there. So the bigger forces, if I went to a grammar school, so it was GCSEs, A levels, A grades, B grades, go to uni, got to uni, left uni, get a job, get a house, get a car, get a husband, get kids, all that kind of stuff. That social structure, those macro level forces have been created by the institutions in our society, and they impact our micro level activity, our everyday life. But they also feed into each other. So if we keep repeating these acts, for example, if you just didn't question anything, you just carried on in your daily life, engaging in the social structures, buying the rail tickets, paying the university fees, going to school, you can also change it, right? Because you can resist and you can vote with your feet, you can vote politically, you have the power to actually change these bigger forces. And I go back to the triangle with the producer, the audience, and the text. So you've seen examples where audiences have responded negatively to media products that institutions have brought out, and therefore the media products have changed. So that kind of power leans again more towards Fisk and less towards Adorno, and also uh, challenges sort of Marxism. So you'll have seen that Marxism has come up quite a bit in this chapter, and Marx believed that there was a big group, a mass, being controlled by a very small select elite. So essentially, if you think about our government is a very small elite group of people, yet they make decisions for the millions of people who are in the UK. So that's what Marx believed, and he wanted a revolution against this. But it never happened. But he did believe, much like Adorno, that the media and the controlling forces had control, and everyone was kind of sucked into this false consciousness and had no ability to fight back. But he wanted them to fight back. So Giddens kind of leans more towards the idea of Fisk, okay, that things can be changed. And where he says here, he suggests that this micro level activity, these small little ants, they are in a relationship. We feed each other, If we don't buy the train tickets, the trains don't run. If we don't go and shop in Tesco's will close down. So we need each other. But by doing our daily life and carrying out our daily life, we keep repeating, we keep allowing this structure to be in society. So there is a social structure, traditions, institutions, moral codes, established ways of doing things. For example, going to school, that is you as an individual agent carrying on the structure of schooling that's been put in place for you. However, if you start to challenge that and you did something like homeschooling, then you're challenging the social structure, and if enough people do it, then the social structure will change. So I hope that makes sense. And where he says here, people's everyday actions reinforce and reproduce a set of expectations. If people keep using homophobic language, it will make it more acceptable to use homophobic language. If you think back to the 80s, where there was the AIDS crisis, and there was a huge amount of advertising warning people against the gay disease, similar to Nazi Germany. It becomes a social force and becomes a social structure, and we allow that. Same with, treatment of violence against women, inequality against women. It was in place as a social structure for so long, and it's only because of the people who challenged it, the micro level activity, who kept saying no, and using the media to get that message out. That's why now we're in the fortunate position of having a more open conversation about equality for women, for example. Okay. But it only works if we carry on doing that. Okay. So society only has form, and that form, so the structure is only as strong as people being involved in that structure. Okay, so as long as that structure is produced and reproduced by people, then there will be a structure in society. If we refuse, then the whole anthill collapses, and we'll be running free. So I hope that's okay.